So this exhibition is called After Laughter Comes Tears. Includes works by Jacob Dwyer and David Raymond Conroy. The sort of curatorial idea came from, well, it takes its cue from sort of narratologist readings. So the main one is by Gerard Genette, who's like who coined a term in the 70s called metalepsis, which is essentially the ways in which narrative layers can be broken down. In working with Jacob, he made the film Donovan Garcia, we actually extended it specifically for this exhibition to form a sort of, I think one way to describe it is an elliptical ear trap, so it's entirely circular.
I used to scream a lot, develop these little bumps on my tonsils.
What?
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to scream a lot, develop these little bumps on my tonsils.
My sort of curatorial approach to sort of putting together exhibitions is one in which the process of working really closely with the artist is super important. I like to sort of have a mutual exchange in references and citations and sort of contexts and how the work can be pushed. I think that the MLitt Curatorial Practice course sort of gave me the space to be able to think and to be able to develop my practice to how I wanted to develop it. And I think that's both within the University of Glasgow and the art school, as well as in the city itself.
So the exhibition's title is On the Closing of a Lanark Leisure Centre, and it's an exhibition by Arié Frosch that I curated. The exhibition's premise is the idea about this fictional leisure centre closing and the concurrent opening of a linguistic leisure space, which is called the Language Leisure Collective. So throughout the process of making the exhibition, Arié and I met up all the time, like once a week for 2-hour meetings, where we really kind of dismantled what this exhibition was aiming to do. And that was really important for me to work with an artist based in Glasgow in order to work very closely with someone to kind of really involve myself in the process and the editing and the development of Arié's ideas.
Are we talking about structure, she asks. Sticks of Blackpool rock with words written down the middle. Things that hold other things together. I don't usually ask people about their tattoos. The personal significance does not often translate. At the top left of her arm, near the shoulder, was a brain, and beneath that, a heart.
So the work is a publication called Shadow Matter, which centres on the idea of smuggling and how it infiltrates art writing practice, so how artists who work in writing relate to or don't the idea of smuggling in their work. I've worked with 5 artists, Adrian Williams, Anna M. Szaflarski, Reet Vishnan, Sarah Amido and Sarah Rose. So I invited them to think about this and how it relates to their work. I went to a lecture by Dr. Craig Martin in Glasgow University, and he spoke about his research in illicit modes of transport, so how smugglers alter objects or create new objects to defeat customs and border patrols. So he's interested in the idea of affordances as I guess a philosophical notion. I went to these artists and asked them what affordances writing gives to their practice that they don't get through other media. The piece is called Shadow Matter, and Craig referred to objects that had been altered or created by smugglers as being shadow objects. So many of them might have had interior compartments which existed in this kind of shadowed environment, but also it relates to the idea of like shadow economies and objects that are not what they seem to be.
So my project was called Crack Squad of SITU, and it was at the History of Art department at Glasgow University between the 16th to 23rd of August 2017.
and it was a residency conceived for artist, musician and performer Fritz Welsh. The premise of the project was to make use of an everyday working context as a retaliation at the superstructures of society, hence using the university history of art department as a way of looking at sort of retaliating against canonised art. So it was an amazing experience working with Fritz. It was the first time we'd worked together and we had to get quickly accustomed to each other. So we'd have just sort of an informal meeting twice a day where we'd discuss how the work was developing on his side, and also helping with like installation, because he was producing a wall drawing and works on paper, and then also presenting existing works. So it was nice to work together in this capacity. This course has given me the opportunity to experiment in my practice and also to reflect on my previous curatorial work and to find ways to improve my working approach. It's also given me the opportunity to find like-minded artists and curators and to find new contexts to reach people with.